The Bassmaster New York Top 100. Here on this tidewater fishery known as the Hudson River, anglers must be able to adjust. Tidal movements influence the bass. Weather changes can also alter your daily game plan. As Chet Dothan, a Lake Okeechobee, Florida-based pro, knows.
Today's been a slow day for me so far. I've just had one bite and lost him about a 2-pounder. Things have kind of changed since yesterday. Yesterday was kind of a partly cloudy to a lightly cloudy day. And out here over these water chestnuts, there was a lot of little bullfrogs. And you'd see them, you'd throw your bait out there, and you'd see them jumping around, and the fish occasionally come up and get one. And that's what I was doing yesterday. I caught 3 of my fish, throwing out there either a crawdad or a worm, and just dragging it across the top of the grass like a little frog would be hopping on it, and the fish would come up through the chestnuts and eat it. And today, with this real dark, cloudy day, I have not seen a frog out on this grass. It must take the sun to bring these frogs out and get them up on top of the grass. And so far, they haven't been feeding out here like that.
After the first day of competition, Chet ranked 3rd with a 5 bass limit of 12 pounds, 13 ounces. But it was Missouri pro Denny Brower who jumped out front with a total bag of 13 pounds, 5 ounces. Brower and Dothan are fishing this second day in the same general area, 60 miles south of Catskill near Newburgh in Wappinger Creek.
Well, the one thing about the tidal water is you've got to be in the right place at the right time. I was almost in the right place at the right time right there. We'll continue this conversation later, okay? I'm going to catch a fish. The importance of the tide is these fish really feed on certain tides, and you can fish through an area and not think there's any fish there, and some other guy can come in at the right tide and absolutely clean up. And I think that's what's happened in this here area. A lot of guys fish through it in practice, and maybe the tides weren't quite right and they didn't get bit. I was fortunate and had a bite or two, and it brought me back, and therefore I pretty well have the area to myself. But they sure are tough to get the bite, and our tides aren't really right this week. It's ideal if we could really play that low tide, a couple hours on each side of it, and we're not going to get that. We basically are dealing with high tides during the tournament in this area I'm fishing.
Back in the chestnuts, Chet Dothan is finally connected. With a high tide here in Wappinger Creek, fishing has been a grind. Chet worked this same area for 30 minutes before this bass finally hit.
Oh, it's about time. That fish right there, I pitched that worm in there, and when it fell through the mat, that's when he grabbed it. He was laying just right underneath the top of the mat. I can see right now the tide is just starting to move out, so hopefully maybe this is going to turn the switch on for them and they'll get to biting.
Wappinger Creek has a good concentration of bass. Chet Dothan's working a 100-yard stretch of matted chestnuts and milfoil grass near the tributary's mouth. A quarter-mile up the creek, Tournament Trail roommates Danny Correa of Massachusetts and Randy Blockett of Missouri are trying to figure out the best bass-catching technique.
The fish on the outgoing tide tend to move off the bank, and they'll hold between where I just cast it and about to the edge of the grass here. But on this high tide, I mean, they're way back there, and you just have to keep throwing until you find one that's maybe halfway back here, just cruising along, like that one there. And what I'll do now is, I've at least found one, so now I'm gonna make 4 or 5 casts till I catch him. Try to draw him a little bit closer each time, not throwing into the pocket, just to the edges. This is all you do. You just keep trying for them until one of them either eats it or you can get them close enough where you can flip a Guido bug. That's what I've been throwing on them, and a worm. But I continually throw in the same little path here, because a lot of times what the fish will do is he'll hit the first time right there, and he'll track my spoon for another 20 or 30 feet, and then every time he gets a little bit closer to the boat till I can finally just drop my worm in on him and catch him.
The lure Chet Dothan is flipping is a 4-inch ringworm, the June bug color with a clear blue tail that adds flash. He's rigging it Texas style, weedless, with a 3/0 hook, and using a 5/16-ounce bullet-shaped sinker that's pegged to the worm with a screw-type lock. As a noisemaker, Chet inserts a glass bead with a small shot that makes a rattle. In the thick cover, the rattle may help. Chet works the lure in short jerks and hops.
what I'm using.
Randy Blockett is trying a different lure technique.
These fish are suspended underneath the chestnuts there, and we've been taking like spoons and stuff running across the surface, and they'll come up and blow up on it and miss it. You know, I've had like 20 to 30 strikes a day and only caught 2 fish yesterday. But today, the technique that I use, I was trying to figure out how to catch the fish once they hit. So instead of going with the spoon, I switched to this Lucky Strike Biffle's Mega Craw with a 1-ounce sinker on it. And what I'm doing, I'm casting it way over the chestnuts, reeling it real fast and dropping it down in the middle of the chestnuts, way back in them. And those same fish that are positioned way back in those chestnuts that were just blowing up on the spoon, that were actually eating this Mega Craw.
The tide in Wappinger Creek is going out, creating the feeding activity Chet Dothit's been patiently waiting for. This bass hit Chet's Junebug ringworm near the edge of the matted grass. Now the challenge is getting him out. Chet's persistence is paying off, and with a 60-mile boat ride back to the weigh-in at the village of Catskill, Dothit's definitely in striking distance of the lead. At the midway point in the New York Top 100, the Day 2 standings put Chet Dothit on top with 21 pounds, 7 ounces. Just 5 ounces ahead of Danny Correa in second place. Dan Moorhead and Mark Menendez, both Paducah, Kentucky-based pros, rank 3rd and 4th, followed by Tidal River veteran Randall Romig in 5th. Former Angler of the Year Gary Klein is 6th, ahead of Jim Bitter, the recent Minnesota Top 100 winner. In 8th, Kevin Van Dam, the New York Invitational champion at the Thousand Islands. Jeff Fletcher of Arkansas and Georgia's Stanley Mitchell are within 2 pounds and change of the lead. We've got us a horse race. Any bets on the winner?